Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront Updates. Today I wanted to talk about something quite important for the next game, balancing patches and how they handle OP stuff in the next game. And yes, I know, Elliot, why are you using the EE-4? It's such an OP weapon, you stupid Swede. Well, that's kind of the point of this video. I wanted to show you how easy it is to absolutely dominate the enemy team if you use the most OP stuff in the game. In this case, I'm using the jump pack, personal shield, bomb, bodyguard, and of course the EE-4. I pretty much never die in any of these games because if I get low health, well, pop the shield and use the bomb or just jump pack away. And since I have the bodyguard, I can tank a lot of damage including proximity bombs and then combine all of that defensive ability with the best weapon in the game, the EE-4, and you will absolutely slaughter the enemy team. So that is why you will be seeing this gameplay in the background, just to show you something that went wrong with the previous game and things that they didn't really patch properly. To be completely honest though, they did fix a lot of the OP stuff in the game, such as Power Blast for Lando, the TL-50 secondary fire, the SE-14C with the old Berserker trait and explosive shot. There was a lot of combinations that they did take care of, but this is simply to show you something that is still very OP in the game. However, the main issue with the current game and how they handle these patches were that they took forever. The Power Blast fix I think took 3 or 4 months, if not more, and most of the other balancing changes took quite some time. But one thing we need to note here is that finding what is OP and what people are gonna use is pretty much impossible for the QA team. Let's say they have 30, 40, maybe 50 QA testers. I honestly have no idea, but there is just no way they will be able to test out every single combination in the game and find these really overpowered combinations. But it takes millions of people to play the game for a couple of weeks to find out these really OP combinations, and then they can react off that. Same thing as with the jump caster and bounty hunter trait. They did fix that, although it took a while. So my hope for the next game is, first of all, if we're just talking about major breaking glitches such as the Power Blast, that they can fix those kind of stuff server side, because it does take a lot of verification to send out a client patch. Even if they might fix it locally on their own PCs very quickly, like they did say on Twitter a couple of times, it still takes weeks or sometimes months to get that patch out, because it needs to be verified with Sony, with Microsoft, and I think Origin and PC is a bit easier, but they still gotta release the patch on all platforms at the same time. Whereas if they can fix it server side, they don't need to send out a client patch to us, meaning that they can fix it very quickly. One thing that they actually did this with was with Dengar's Hurricane Strike. He could one-shot Luke, but that was fixed within 2 days I think, which was because they could do it server side. So the whole point regarding glitches and game-breaking bugs for weapons and heroes is that I hope they have a better system for the next game where they can fix all of that server side and that the balancing changes doesn't have to go through a really long and tedious client patch. And if we're just talking about the meta gameplay and the best stuff in the game, I just hope that they will be a bit quicker on changing stuff and being a bit more open with it. Currently in Battlefield 1 they have monthly patches, which is more often than we got in the current Battlefront game. And I think once a month is fine, as long as they have the ability to nerf really game-breaking stuff within a couple of days through server patches. Such as, you know, the EE-4 and the bodyguard that I'm using now. That would be completely fine if it took a month to patch, because, well, now it's been in the game for like half a year. But in general, my hope is that they will be more responsive to community feedback and that they will see that some weapons and some combinations become something that the community uses a lot. I think they also have stats where they can see that, oh, 75% of all players are using the EE-4. Probably not that many, but you know what I mean. And my hope then is that they will go, okay, let's change the EE-4 a little bit to make it less good but still viable, because that's also another issue that DICE has been famous for over the last couple of years, that they tend to over-nerf stuff. They take something that is very overpowered, make it into something completely useless. So what they need to do is slightly tone them down, and that's why I hope they will do it very often. So they say, hey, this weapon is really overpowered, we're tuning it down a little bit, give us some feedback over the next couple of weeks and we will get back to it. And then they can say, okay, so it seems like we might need to nerf it even further, and then they do that. Instead of going from really OP to really crap in a matter of days, which is not an ideal situation, because in the best situation all weapons should be viable for different situations. I think they have done a pretty good job on balancing that in the current game, because if you take away the EE-4, there's a lot of other options. I can use the EE-3, EE-11, SE-14C, CA-87, and I all feel like they are equally good. It's just the EE-4 that kind of sticks out as the best weapon in the game, which is a shame that they did so much balancing to the other weapons but didn't balance this weapon anything. So if they are more responsive to community feedback, and if they balance the game more often, I think they can do a really good job in the next game. And we do of course have classes, which will make it more interesting, but the main issue there, if they do have something that is really overpowered, is that it might lead to everyone just playing the same class. Imagine if they had an EE-3 plus Berserker type combo on, let's say, the assault class. Well, then a lot of people would pick the assault, not because they like the playstyle of the assault, but because it has the best weapon. So that's something they need to be very careful with. But so, well, what is my suggestion for DICE? Well, before the launch, well, not really that much they can do. What they can do is make sure to include as much as possible in a potential alpha and beta. I know they can't just include the entire game there, but if they have some of the things that they are a little bit unsure about in there, the community will give them pretty clear feedback. I know some things like the cycle rifle got nerfed quite heavily after the beta, and there really is no way for them to test the gameplay as thoroughly as a community with millions of people can do, as compared to a QA testing team with maybe a couple of hundred at tops, or I don't know how many they have, to be honest, but I think you get my point. And then after the launch, just be very responsive on the community feedback, have consistent patches for the balancing, and please make sure that you can do server side fixes for really game breaking stuff. So if you guys have any other suggestions on this topic or thoughts about how the current game was handled, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the force be with you.